Let's look at the escalating conflict between Israel and Iran, with both Israeli and Iranian cities coming under new airstrikes overnight. This is now the fourth day of the fighting, and it's sounding unlikely that the White House will attempt any kind of diplomatic intervention.
I hope there's going to be a deal. I think it's time for a deal, and we'll see what happens. But sometimes they have to fight it out, but we're going to see what happens. I think there's a good chance there'll be a deal.
That was Donald Trump as he was heading to Canada. U.S. media outlets report U.S. President Trump advised Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu against targeting Iran's supreme leader. In an interview with Fox News, Netanyahu dismissed those reports.
There's so many false reports of conversations that never happened, and I'm not going to get into that, but I can tell you, I think that we do what we need to do. We'll do what we need to do, and I think the United States knows what is good for the United States.
Netanyahu did confirm the U.S. military is helping Israel defend its airspace, but there's no signal from the White House that American forces in the region are preparing to join in Israeli strikes on Iran. We have team coverage on the story for you again this morning. Crystal Gamansing in Jerusalem with the latest from Israel, and Anna Cunningham watching developments out of Iran from London. Crystal, to begin with you this hour, day 4 of the conflict, as I was mentioning, and again this morning, Israeli cities came under a deadly Iranian attack. What are officials saying about that?
Well, Heather, Israeli officials are saying since Friday, 23 people have been killed. And as you mentioned, communities being affected right across Israel. Iranian ballistic missiles are getting through despite the robust air defense systems. You just saw the moment of impact in the central district city of Petativka. That was a high-rise building that received a direct hit. Officials with the Home Front Command, they say that that impact was on the 4th floor and that 2 individuals who died in that strike were actually in a safe room. Those who were above and below, they were okay, and they're encouraging people to still go to their safe rooms or any safe location when they get an alert. People who survived that strike describe a harrowing experience.
We heard a strong bomb, and after we go out, after a few minutes, we see all the damage. All the house is broken.
My building boom from Iran, very scary. I have 4 children, 4 boys, and we're very scary, but everyone it's okay.
One other scene of note is in the area of Haifa, that's the port city, and the British maritime security firm Ambry is saying that a fire was observed near the power plant. We have not had any confirmation or any comment, Heather, from Israeli officials about that strike.
But in general, we have heard from an Israeli military spokesperson this morning, Crystal, in terms of the overall objectives and what Israel thinks it is attaining in the fighting. What does he now say?
That's right. There was a press briefing by a spokesperson for Israel Defense Forces, Brigadier General Efi Defrin. And one of the things he highlighted was the fact that he says Israel has air superiority now over Iran. He says that Israel has managed to take out about a third of Iran's missile launcher systems. In total, they say they have destroyed 120 of those launchers. Of course, with those being destroyed, Israel will have a better chance of dealing with any of the incoming missiles so that they can be handled by the air defense systems. Israeli officials are also highlighting the fact that they say they have confirmed the killing of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard's chief of intelligence, that is Brigadier General Mohammad Qasemi, as well as his deputy. It's worth noting that Israeli officials say that unlike Iran, they continue to target members of the military, any nuclear facilities, and those attached to those nuclear facilities.
Crystal, thank you very much. These are images into us from Tehran earlier this morning. Long lines of vehicles heading north out of the city. And this is video from Sunday showing the aftermath of Israeli airstrikes. Anna Cunningham following that side of the story for us, and she is in London. A couple of things just breaking out as we get into you and some of the accounts out of Tehran. Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli prime minister, there are reports coming out of Israel that he is meeting with his defense minister at an Israeli Air Force base. And these are some of the things that he is saying there to Minister Getz, that we are on the path to victory, that we are on our way to achieving our two main objectives, which are to eliminate the nuclear threat and eliminate the missile threat, that the Israeli Air Force is in control of the skies over Tehran. And in keeping with those images we just saw of those long lines of people trying to get out of Tehran, Netanyahu is telling his defense minister that Israel is telling the citizens of Tehran to evacuate because Israel is taking action. So all of that just happening, as Crystal's reporting to us, and you are too. Does this sort of gel with the kinds of reporting that you are hearing from out of Iran today?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's interesting, those images that we've seen of people in those long lines trying to leave Tehran. We've also seen long queues as well at gas stations as people are desperately trying to fill up their vehicles so that they can leave. Just one thing, Heather, you mentioned there that Benjamin Netanyahu had said that there is a message, an Israeli message asking people to evacuate Tehran. We are hearing as well that Iran is saying that evacuation order they're describing as an Israeli psychological operations. Also hearing that Iran is a government spokesperson saying that Iran's internet has been slowed down for combating cyber attacks on the country. Clearly, people in Tehran are witnessing these strikes from Israel. And those images that you can see, as you said, they were from Sunday. We understand in the northern area. There's also been strikes on oil facilities. And what is becoming increasingly difficult, Heather, is to independently verify any figures that are coming out of Iran at the moment. We know that there are numbers being reported on state TV, on state-run news agencies, but there is a big gap with what we're hearing in terms of figures coming out of people who have been killed in those strikes from Iran, and then observers of human rights groups outside of the country. Just want to tell you that Iran's health ministry gave an update earlier today, and they said that in 4 days, at least 224 people have been killed, and they said 90% of those were civilians. It also says that 1,277 were injured as of Sunday evening. But if we contrast that to figures that we're seeing reported by a Washington-based human rights group, which has been tracking the country for a long time. They're called the Human Rights Activists in Iran. Now, it is claiming the total number of civilian and military deaths in the country by Saturday night had reached at least 863. So clearly a big discrepancy in those figures, but it's very difficult for us to independently verify the numbers. What is clear, though, Heather, is that Israel has targeted senior military personnel, Iranian nuclear scientists, nuclear sites, and the images that we're looking at now are from residential areas, we're told, inside the capital city, Tehran.
Anna, thank you so much. Anna Cunningham from London, watching developments out of Iran for us today.